Hello again. We're going to just jump right in and keep going. We're going to be going over the signs for all of the states in the United States. As a side note, when you're looking at the glossing, FS hyphen means fingerspell what comes next. Another way is to do a hyphen in between each letter. That takes longer to spell or to type out, so that's not my preferred way, but both are correct. So the first sign is the sign for America. America. We have our fingers overlapping. One way to remember this is with the early colonial pole fence or also the corners of log cabins. America. The United States is US. You can do United States and give it a little shake, or just do US. Now on to the states. There's 50 of them. Alabama, ALA. Alaska starts with an A and opens up to a 5-hand and slides along the side of your face. This shows the way that a person would be wearing a parka, have an Eskimo with their fur hoods. That's what this sign looks like. Alaska. Arizona, brushes down on either side of my chin. Arizona, like the sign for dry. Dry. Arizona is dry. Arkansas, arc, and it moves in a little arch shape. Arc. Arkansas. California, amongst many, sign for gold. I point to my ear and I sign yellow for gold. California, I keep my hand in the 1 and L hand shape and I just bring that down. California. California. I have seen people also sign it this way, California. As a Southern California, most people sign it like this. Some people sign it on their ear. I don't have earrings, but if those people who do, they'll move it to the side and sign it along their cheek so that they don't risk snagging their finger on their earring. So both locations are okay. Colorado. My preferred sign, Colorado. Your C shows the outline of the mountains in Colorado. You can touch your arm or you can hold it up above it and just wiggle it up and down to show the shape of mountains. The other sign is more of a play on word sign, but it is used seriously. It is the sign for color and ADO. You sign the word color and then spell ADO. Colorado. Colorado. Haha. Connecticut. CONN. Or Connecticut. You can just drag that to the side. Delaware is DEL. Florida, again, that little movement, it kind of mimics to me the shape of the Florida panhandle and then the rest of the state. Florida, Florida. Georgia, GA. Twists, GA. Hawaii, like the sign beautiful, but with an H. An older sign is the sign for, looks like the sign for hula. Hawaii is what I see most commonly now. Idaho, they would prefer that we spell it. I learned to sign it like potato. You can feel free and spell it though, or sign it like potato with a little curve, little circle around and down. Also the sign for the country of Ireland. Illinois, I and then the 2 L's slide off to the side. Illinois. Indiana, IND, a little dip, IND. Never signing Indiana. Don't do that. Indiana. Iowa, whole word. Remember, 5 letters or less, often spelled the whole word. Iowa, Iowa. Kansas, often is KS. Now, previously, KAN was more common. But because of the ease of the way that you just curl from the K back to the S, Kansas has become more commonly signed KS. Kentucky, KY, and kind of slides down to the side. Kentucky. Louisiana. Maine can be signed like this, the same as the sign for Pittsburgh, or it is spelled MAINE. And again, remember when you're moving from an N to an E, you can also do your 2-finger EMAINE. Maryland, MD. Massachusetts, M-A-S-S, or M-A and slide the S. Michigan, M-I-C-H, Michigan. You can also sign, looks like mitten with your hand pointed out, Michigan. Minnesota, M-I-N-N slides or M-I-N-N tap. Mississippi, M-I and move your S to the side. Missouri, it starts with your M kind of open and backwards, and it flips around to the O. Missouri. Montana has a sign. It's your open M, so your M's with your fingers pulled open, goes across and down like the shape of the state. Montana. Nebraska is N-E-B. You can also do your two-finger E for N-E-B here also. Nevada, definitely doing the two-finger version, N-E-V, N-E-V. New Hampshire, just like all of the states with two words in the name, you do the first letter of each. So New Hampshire. New Jersey. New York has a sign. The sign for Subway, the restaurant, and the transportation gets flipped over, and we sign it back and forth like this. New York. New York, upside down Subway. New York. New Mexico, N-M. North Carolina. North Dakota. And you can see I'm going to the one finger D because I was at that N, so I'm not going to open up those last two fingers. They're going to stay down, and they can just open up to that D. Ohio. 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 Oklahoma. In a little arc. Some people will also sign OK. I prefer the full version. Oregon comes from the sign for Washington, which comes from the sign for to be passed down. President Washington started the tradition in our country as president. So Washington, and then Oregon, we sign that similarly. If you're from Oregon, they will say we sign our state like this. The rest of the country is like we still are going to sign it this way. Sorry. Pennsylvania, P-A. And my P is just still kind of sideways. It's not all the way down. P-A. Rhode Island, R-I. South Carolina, S-C. Kind of comes forward a little bit. South Dakota, S-D. Tennessee, T-E-N-N. T-E-N-N. Tapped or sliding is fine. Texas is an X in the 7 shape. It looks like the top of their panhandle. So Texas is a 5-letter. So like we've talked about, like many of them are go both ways. You could spell Idaho or you could sign it. Texas, you always sign Texas. Don't mess with Texas, just sign Texas. So Texas, your X in the shape of a 7. Some people also will drop their hand forward instead of bringing their arm down. So whichever's more comfortable for you. Utah, I sign mine with a thumb out. My fingers are brushing on my cheek. Comes from the sign for Mormon. Some people, because of multiple reasons, don't like to sign it that way, so they will just spell it. Utah. Vermont, VT. VT. Virginia, VA. Here's the sign for Washington. My W touching my shoulder and circling forward. Washington. West Virginia is the backward sign for West, and then Virginia, just like regular Virginia. We're going to learn this in a minute, but the sign West should go this way. For West Virginia, it moves towards your outside shoulder, West, and then Virginia. Wisconsin, W-I-S-C. A joke amongst people from Wisconsin is that their cow, W with a cow. I would never sign that to them, but they sign it amongst themselves and think it's funny. Wyoming, most common is W2Y, like Kentucky. Wyoming, the old version of that whole syllable, but that O gets dropped a lot now. And I've also seen, and how I was originally taught, is Wyoming, W's, 2 Y's for the shape of the state. All right, state abbreviation notes. When a word is 5 letters or fewer, it is typically spelled the complete name. If it's longer, it's typically spelled with the first syllable, 3 to 4 letters. Alternatively, the first and last letters are used similar to postal abbreviations. When a state has 2 words, the first letter of each word will be used all the time, except New York has a sign, but the abbreviated spelled words are always the first letter of each word. If you're in doubt, if you forgot, if you're not sure, you can just spell the 2-letter abbreviation you would use as a postal abbreviation. It's not correct. It will be completely understood, and most deaf people won't even care. If they understood what you signed, they will be fine with that. All right, I'm going to wrap up this video, and we will continue in the next one.